The wind howled through the broken boards like a warning the day he first stood in front of the abandoned farmhouse, a single father with tired eyes and a heart that had learned to survive disappointment. Paint peeled from the walls like old scars, the roof sagged under years of neglect, and the land around it felt forgotten by time itself. Still, something about the place pulled at him, as if the silence was waiting for someone who understood loss. He had no idea that weeks later, when he returned, the house would no longer be empty, and that the lives waiting inside would change his forever. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of compassion, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this exist because people still believe that broken lives can be rebuilt. He was a single dad not by choice, but by fate's cruel hand. 2 years earlier, illness had taken his wife slowly, leaving him with grief that never truly slept, and a young child who depended on him for everything. City life became unbearable after that, too loud, too expensive, too full of memories he could not outrun. He worked long shifts, came home exhausted, and tried to be both mother and father while pretending he wasn't falling apart inside. When he found the listing for the abandoned farmhouse at a price he could barely afford, it felt less like a purchase and more like a desperate leap of faith. He imagined quiet mornings, fresh air, and a chance to rebuild a life that no longer felt whole. The first weeks were brutal. He spent every spare moment cleaning debris, boarding broken windows, and fixing what he could with borrowed tools and limited skills. The house resisted him at every step, as if testing whether he truly belonged there. Floors creaked like protests, walls leaked cold air at night, and loneliness settled in when the sun went down. Still, he pressed on, fueled by the idea that this place could become a sanctuary for his child, a home where healing might finally begin. When urgent work called him back to the city for several weeks, he locked the doors, secured what little he had repaired, and promised himself he would return stronger. When he did come back, dust-covered truck rolling up the dirt path, his heart nearly stopped. Lights glowed softly through the farmhouse windows. Smoke curled from the chimney. The place he left abandoned was alive. Panic surged through him, followed by confusion, then anger. Fear for his child and everything he had sacrificed tightened his chest as he approached the door, bracing for the worst. But when he stepped inside, what he found was not destruction. It was humanity. 2 women were living there, not intruders in the way he had imagined, but survivors. They were sisters, worn thin by hardship, their faces carrying the quiet exhaustion of people who had lost too much too fast. The older one carried herself protectively, like someone who had learned to stand between the world and someone she loved. The younger moved carefully, her health fragile, her presence gentle. They had found the farmhouse empty, cold, and forgotten, just like themselves. With nowhere else to go, they cleaned it, patched holes, and made it livable using whatever they could salvage. They had treated the house not as something to take, but something to respect. The anger he arrived with melted into something far heavier, recognition. He saw his own struggle reflected in them. He understood the fear of sleeping with nowhere safe, the shame of needing shelter, the silent prayers whispered into darkness. Every instinct told him to protect his space, to demand they leave, to reclaim what little control he had over his life. But another part of him, the part shaped by loss and love, refused to harden. The days that followed were not easy. Trust does not come quickly to people who have been hurt. The house felt crowded with emotions, each person unsure where they belonged. Yet slowly, something shifted. The sisters helped repair what he had started. The farmhouse grew warmer, not just from the fire burning in the hearth, but from shared purpose. His child laughed more, drawn to the gentleness of people who understood vulnerability. Meals were simple, but they were shared. Silence, once heavy, became peaceful. The man began to see the farmhouse differently. It was no longer just an escape from pain. It was becoming a place where broken paths intersected and healed together. The sisters had skills he did not. They turned scraps into warmth, turned emptiness into care. In return, he offered stability, protection, and the dignity of not being cast aside. What started as an unexpected confrontation became a quiet alliance born from empathy. Winter crept in with unforgiving cold, testing them all. Money ran tight, repairs felt endless, and doubt whispered late at night. There were moments when he wondered if he had made a mistake by opening his life to strangers. But every time he considered turning away, he remembered how close he himself had come to losing everything. He remembered the nights when one small act of kindness could have changed his entire world. As months passed, the farmhouse transformed. Walls were repaired, the roof reinforced, and the land slowly came back to life. But the greatest change happened within them. The sisters regained strength and hope. His child found a sense of extended family, and the man himself learned that being a father did not mean carrying every burden alone. He learned that love could return in unexpected forms, not as a replacement for what was lost, but as a continuation of it. If this story is already touching something deep inside you, pause for a moment and leave a comment sharing where you're watching from or what part of this story resonates with your life. Your words matter more than you know. The farmhouse no longer felt abandoned by the world. It became a symbol of resilience, a place where lives collided not by accident, but by necessity. Each sunrise felt earned. Each repaired board carried meaning. The man realized that the home he had hoped to build for his child had become something even greater, a refuge where compassion rewrote the future. Near the end of that first year, standing outside as snow settled gently on the land, he felt a sense of peace he had not known since before his loss. The grief was still there, but it no longer ruled him. Instead, purpose guided his steps. He had bought the farmhouse to escape pain, but it gave him connection. He had returned expecting conflict, but found family. And in saving others, he discovered that he was slowly saving himself. Before this story ends, if it moved you, inspired you, or reminded you that kindness still exists in this world, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to support more stories like this. And one last special request. Comment the word hope. If you believe that even abandoned places and broken people can find new beginnings.